the money we spend, the maintenance we spend on those planes to keep them tippy top is astronomical. You wouldn't even believe it. So I think it's a great gesture from Qatar. I appreciate it very much. I would never be one to turn down that kind of an offer. I mean, I could be a stupid person and say, no, we don't want a free, very expensive airplane. But I thought it was a great gesture. And I think it was a gesture because of the fact that we have helped and continue to, we will continue to, all of those countries, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, and others. We keep them safe. If it wasn't for us, they probably wouldn't exist right now.
Okay, so it has apparently no longer enough for Donald Trump to grift on land. He wants to grift in the clouds as well, because this $400 million plane that you've been probably hearing about, I guess that's going forward. He is being given a plane. I mean, temporarily, the US government is being given a plane, but on a long enough time horizon, Donald Trump is being given an almost $500 million plane. $400 million initially. Of course, as we're going to describe, we're going to need at our government with our tax dollars, we're going to need to do a bunch of work on the plane that will eventually just be his. I have often thrown around the term corruption. I have labeled Donald Trump not only the most corrupt president in US history, but I believe, and I think it's indisputable, if you were to add up all of the corruption of all the other presidents, it wouldn't come close to him. This, though, might be the single most blatantly corrupt, transparently corrupt act in the history of the United States. But please tell me more about the $5 million you think China gave to Joe Biden or whatever that you've never been able to prove. In any event, this is a Boeing 747-8, a donation from the Qatari royal family. And look, as much as I want Donald Trump to be flying as much as possible on Boeing airplanes, I still feel like this is pretty corrupt and we should be worried about it. And so he's gonna be doing this big trip. It's the first extended foreign trip of his presidency. He's gonna be traveling to 3 nations in the Middle East, including Qatar specifically. And bear in mind, the Air Force One has been a massive obsession of Donald Trump. So this, once he takes this gift, it'll briefly serve as Air Force One before he takes the $500 million plane for himself. I want to remind everyone though, in his first term, he had made a deal to get a new Air Force One, a deal with, I believe it was Boeing then, $3.9 billion. And the plane isn't ready. It's apparently not gonna be ready for a few years. So what happened to that $3.9 billion? Because this seems like a really bad deal that Donald Trump signed us on for. Like, is that just gone? Are we not gonna, we're not gonna get the plane? Are we ever gonna get a return on the $4 billion? Why is nobody talking about that? But in any event, we need to get into the pushback that people are experiencing. And Donald Trump is not at all a fan of the fact that people don't like that he's doing this massive, accepting this huge bribe. So let's jump to our first video. It's gonna be Karoline Leavitt responding to the initial concerns about this.
Can you clarify that Qatar is giving us a new Air Force One as a personal gift to President Trump? Are they gifting it to the country? What could you tell us about this luxury liner that looks like a hotel in the air?
Well, the Qatari government has graciously offered to donate a plane to the Department of Defense. The legal details of that are still being worked out, but of course, any donation to this government is always done in full compliance with the law, and we commit ourselves to the utmost transparency, and we will continue to do that.
Do you worry that if they give us something like this, they want something in return?
Absolutely not, because they know President Trump and they know he only works with the interests of the American public in mind.
He's gonna take the plane. It's gonna be his. It's not the American. You know that, like, you watching it, like maybe you're an American citizen. You don't get to fly on it, right? You know that, like now or later, just him. I agree with her that they are very transparent with their corruption. It doesn't take a ProPublica article for you to understand how corrupt this is. It is pretty clear. The lie, of course, is the compliance with the law, or the vague assertion that he would never do anything to benefit anyone other than the American people. Again, Elon Musk is running roughshod over our government after having purchased Donald Trump during the last election. So we're gonna get to more of this, more of his Truth Social posts and everything. I think Donald Trump is squirming today because he understands how bad this looks? I mean, we'll get to MAGA attacking him, but JR, what do you make of this initially?
I'm surprised that any of MAGA is attacking him at all. Because this is the thing. This is the approach he's taken. This is what he's been doing since the beginning. Maybe he's supposed to divest from his companies and corporations and all that stuff, and someone else is gonna do it. I have a blind trust happening before he absolutely didn't. So what deals are being made and what kinds of things are being hoped for in return? Who knows? Who cares? Trust me. That's all that answer was. It's a long way of saying, trust me. Trust him. I mean, he's Donald Trump. Don't you trust him? He's only a 34-time felon. Don't you trust him? That's why they want to push back so hard on these things that absolutely illustrate who he really is. Because the more people see who he is, the less you should trust him. The more you understand how much he lies, the less you should trust him. But all they have in response is, come on, trust me. Come on, it's me. That's all they've got in response to actual questions about what it is that someone else expects from a donation of a huge airliner, an aeroplane, as he likes to say, for himself and his own personal travel, so he can look a certain way, come off a certain way, and be a certain way. So I think the part that I think some people are also missing is, how about the security issues with this? So a foreign country hands you a huge airplane, created, built, put together, however way they wanted to, in whichever ways and whatever may be on board this plane that you don't know, you haven't looked out for. And if you think they've given a damn or thought about that, think about the things that Pete Hegseth has done with communications in this entire Department of Defense. And imagine whether or not they've even had a thought about what types of security issues come with accepting something like this.
Yeah, it's the entire thing utterly absurd. We'll get to his video, but first, his True Social post. So the fact that the Defense Department is, briefly, getting a gift free of charge of an aircraft to replace a 40-year-old temporarily, very public, transparent transaction so bothers the crooked Democrats that they insist we pay top dollar for the plane. Anybody can do that. The Dems are world-class losers. Yeah, they are losers. They're big losers that they don't just engage in absolutely massive mountains of bribery. I have maybe this is a stupid question. Why does it have to be given to his presidential foundation once he's not president anymore? Like, why can't it just be implicit? Like, first of all, you can have a great debate about whether this should be Air Force One. I don't think it seems like a great idea. Maybe you think it is. Why does he get to take it at all? Like, you could just say, yeah, no, I understand they want to give it to you personally, so you're gonna like temporarily give it to the Air Force, and then you want to take it to your foundation. Follow up, no, you can't do that. You can give it instantly to the Air Force, and it's the US taxpayers' plane. You could do that, or you cannot accept it at all. Now, I know the answer to that question is because the DOJ is just filled with his personal lawyers. So, you'll be surprised to find out Pam Bondi says it's all legal. Weird. I was very curious which way she would come out on that. Turns out she thinks it's legal. No, look, if you're maybe Marjorie Green, she watches the show. If you're a member of the independent right-wing media, I want you to open up Twitter and I want you to tweet. If China gave Joe Biden a $400 million plane and after he was no longer president, it went to the Joe Biden Presidential Foundation, that would be fine. I want you to tweet that. If this is an actual principle that you don't think this constitutes bribery, you don't think this is a conflict of interest, I want you to tweet that. And you know you're not going to, because you know how wildly and transparently corrupt this entire thing is. But in any event, and he's being asked questions about it in his press conference today. He is so bristling about these questions that when a reporter at ABC News asked him about it, he attacked ABC News and said that she should be embarrassed to ask a question about a $400 million gift. Remember like all the reporting that we did on TDR about Clarence Thomas and his like $50,000 statues and $500,000 trips? It's $400 million, let alone what are the security upgrades gonna cost? As taxpayer, 50 million, 100 million, $1 billion? And then he just takes it and it's just his. It might be more than all of the other gifts that have ever been given to a politician in the United States wrapped up in one plane. But you should be embarrassed if you ask questions about it.